is good? It's your boys. I'm back here with another video. And in this video today, guys, we're going to be doing a tier list of the top small forwards right now in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. Now, I think we've got right around, I don't know exactly, but I'm thinking right around 40 guys onto this tier list. And as I'm looking at it right now, I think most of these guys are absolutely really solid. At least guys that you can go out there and run on the court. Like F tier are guys, like if you run them, you are probably not going to have very much success. But D tier or above, if you're running any of those cards, I mean, it's not like it's the worst situation in the world. We're going to start off with Diamond Dennis Rodman. And I've never been one to really hype up Diamond Dennis Rodman that much. My opinion on Diamond Dennis Rodman is this. Is that card really doing that much for you on the court? I know he can play good defense, but his release is slow, and I feel like even his movement is not great. Now, maybe that's just me. Maybe you guys want to use Dennis Rodman and have success than Dennis Rodman, but for me, I'm putting him at B tier. Now, after Dennis Rodman, we do get Tobias Harris. I'm going to put him at D tier. Not that he's unusable. Again, just not a card I'd necessarily recommend using. I think his defense is just not great at this stage. Now, as I get into this, guys, if you have not watched the shooting guard list, please do so, because even a guy, let's say like Kawhi, even a guy like Ron Artest, they're on the shooting guard list. So don't think you're going to watch this and they're going to be on the small forward list. Even if that's where you play them, they're going to be on the shooting guard list. But, you know, I maybe talk about them, but where they're at on the shooting guard list is relevant to where they would be at the small forward list as well. Dorian Finney-Smith, I'm going to split the difference here and go C tier. Here's the deal with Dorian Finney-Smith. His release is just a little slow in my opinion. Not that it's unusable, not that it's horrible. It's just a little slow release that I just think there are other better options to use than DFS at this stage of my team. Again, I don't hate DFS. I've actually, used the card and had some success with him. I'm just saying at this stage, there are much better options to use for your squad. But if you do have him evoed and want to use him, let's say in salary cap, stuff like that, DFS is just fine. AK-47, is he A tier? Is he S tier? For now, I'm going to put him at S tier. The one problem with Andre Kirilenko is his release is not super quick. So, I mean, it's that simple. It's tough to get Andre Kirilenko's release off if somebody is closing out. Feels like you don't have time to get it off. Whereas, some other small forwards, let's just throw out a name right here, even like a Tobias Harris, has a much quicker release than a guy like AK-47. But AK is going to do a ton of other things, especially defensively for you on the court. You just got to prioritize some things. Do you want more defense? Do you want a guy with a quicker release? I think AK right now is S tier for me. Andrew Wiggins up next, I guess C tier. The thing with me and Andrew Wiggins is he going to do anything to hurt you on the court? I don't really think so. It's just, again, he's not immaculate. His release, in my opinion, is on the slower side of things. His defense is fine, not great. I just think he's fine. There's nothing spectacular about that Andrew Wiggins card. Plus, all of those cards were super overpriced. Brandon Ingram, at this stage, C tier. I don't think he's to the level of a Dennis Rodman. And I think if you ask me between Brandon Ingram and Andrew Wiggins, I would have a tough time deciding. Look, for his time, he was fine. The problem with Brandon Ingram is and always will be that release. It's just on the slower side of things. They actually made Brandon Ingram 6'8" this year, where in years past he was only 6'7". But it's not enough to move the needle for me. Carmelo Anthony, Diamond, I guess I'll put him in C tier. Offensively, he's still going to be really good. People ask me all the time, Ty, what's the difference between the Diamond and Pink Diamond Melo? Well, defense. Defense, defense, defense. That's the big deal, the big difference between the two cards. I never really loved Diamond Melo. Some people did. I'm putting him at C tier. Pink Diamond Melo, I'm going to go A tier. To be honest with you guys, if you want to go S tier with Pink Diamond Melo, I can't hate on it. I played a guy in Unlimited, one of the guys on leaderboards. He made 2 reds in the same game against me with Pink Diamond Carmelo Anthony. So if that doesn't show the prowess of Melo, I don't know what will. Now, on that same kind of token, is he worth, picking up for $9, $10? Here's what I would say. I would say it depends. If you're going to grind the mode a lot, if you're going to reach level 40 and you're going to get all the MTVC along the way, yes, the Pro Pass is worth it. If you're just looking for Carmelo Anthony, I do not know if he is worth that $10. It's not a horrible value because he's really solid at the small forward position. I just don't know if he's worth that. Danny Ferry up next. I'm going to go D tier. I've never been high on Danny Ferry this year. And I know some people don't hate the card. He does have good height. His release just isn't what is supposed to be. When I'm thinking of Danny Ferry, I'm thinking of one of the best releases in the game. I'm not just thinking of a card, oh, I could run him because he's got good height. I mean, yes, that has helped Danny Ferry in the past, but that's not the reason I've ran him. And I mean, that would be the reason I would run Danny Ferry this year. For me, D tier. Darius Miles, I'm going to go C tier. Now, I know a lot of people are hating on Darius Miles, and I get it. His release is really bad. The Brook Lopez base is never one I'm going to love, never one I'm going to hype up that much. Meanwhile, he's not horrible. He still does a lot of things defensively for you guys, can make some plays. If his release was better, he might be A tier. For me, I'll put him at C tier. I have some sort of respect for Darius Miles. Glenn Rice up next. I don't know if I can gas him either. I mean, I don't like Glenn Rice at all. C tier, and that's being generous. Look, I'm sorry. If you want to love Glenn Rice and use him and just have so much, do what you guys got to do. I'm just saying, in my experience with Glenn Rice, card's just not been great. And some people might want to, argue and hype up Glenn Rice. I just do not see it with the card. Grant Hill is a card I see it with. Now, whether you want to put him at B tier or A tier, I think it's up to you. I'm going to put him at B tier. Why B tier instead of A tier? His release is not great, and his movement's not great. I remember there was a time, I think it was 2K21 maybe, there was a pink diamond Grant Hill early on in 2K, and I swore by that card. I love that card. Since then, I feel like Grant Hills, they've been fine, but we haven't had an absolutely elite Grant Hill since then. And it's fine, like it is what it is, but it's hard for me to just sit there and hype up a card like Grant Hill when his movement is not great. And even if you look at, his release, not great. I just can't sit there and hype the card up as much as I might want to, because I have historically loved Grant Hill. Jalen Williams, I'm sorry, I do not like you at all. I'm going to put you at D tier. I don't like your release. I don't like your height. I just don't like anything you're doing for me on the court. So why am I supposed to just put you at a decent tier? Because, oh, well, he's a new card and he's not that. No, I'm sorry. I've never seen it with Jalen Williams in my team. And so why would I start now? I just don't see it with the card. I mean, look, if you want to hype the card up, do what you got to do. For me and Jalen Williams, I'm going D tier. Jarace Walker is a card I'm going to hype up. I'll put him at B tier. Here's the deal with Jarace Walker. You're not going to find a much more complete stat-wise amethyst in the entire game. You're just not. Now, is his release the best? No. But is it better than, let's say, a guy like Jalen Williams? Absolutely. I honestly think people are not giving Jarace Walker enough credit for what the card provides for you on the court. He's a free grind, guys. If you get Jarace Walker, an easy free grind, I would use the card if you're just starting your squad out. He is that good, that important for your squad as well. Just a guy that if you pick up, I think you're going to have a ton of success with. Diamond Jason Tatum up next. I'm going to go A tier. But again, if you want to argue S tier, do what you got to do. The thing with me and Jason Tatum is, offensively speaking, he's one of the best options at that small forward position. Release-wise, super smooth, super easy to get off. Defense-wise, isn't even that bad. I know I don't, want to hype up and love on his defense. I about said something crazy there. But it's not bad. It's not like, oh, you're going to really notice him be bad out there defensively. You're not. He's going to be just fine. He's going to hold it down. Jason Tatum, A tier. Jeremy Grant up next. I'm having trouble here. C tier or B tier. I'll put him in B tier because he's going to do a lot of good things for you on the court. I just don't think he is that next tier of good. Like, if you're asking me Jeremy Grant or Jarace Walker, I'm probably taking Jarace Walker. I probably am. Because my whole thing is, number one, he's cheaper. Number two, I think he's a more complete option than even Jeremy Grant. Both cards, I think, are relatively similar. I'm going to go B tier. Jonathan Bender, look. Is he the Jonathan Bender of old? No. He's not. But he's solid. I'll put him at C tier. He's okay. He's solid. If you want to run Jonathan Bender, do what you got to do. I did get him. I think, I don't even know. Was it Clutch? No. I think it was Clutch Time Online where I got Jonathan Bender yesterday on my No Money Spent Squad series. Is he going to play over there? I don't think so, but he could. He's not absolutely horrible. Juwan Howard, D tier. I talked about it in the preface of this video. He does have a duo that I think could make him better, but I just don't love this Juwan Howard. I know he came out this season, but there's just not a ton here to love and look at for for this amethyst Juwan Howard. Kevin Durant, Diamond up next. I'm going to go B tier. I'm sorry, Carlo. Not everybody loves KD as much as you do. And I'm not sitting here saying KD is useless, because he's not. Right? Like, he's not that bad. But his release is very beta. Defensively, he is mediocre at best. Give me Melo, Jason Tatum way over KD. It's not even close. And I know people are going to be like, Todd, KD at the same tier as Jarace Walker? Look at this. You want to argue it? All right, look at this. I'm just doing this for the sake of this video because I have to. Because I know people are going to argue this. Look at the stats, guys. I don't make the rules. When you're telling me Jarace Walker stat-wise is better than KD, I'm going to take Jarace Walker over him. The only thing KD's got to better is 3-ball. If you look at vertical strength defense, it's not even close. I'm sorry. If you're wanting to hype up KD more than Jarace Walker, that's on you, not me. Chris Middleton D tier. Look, I've always hoped in 2K for a good Chris Middleton card. Yet we've not seen it. We just haven't seen it yet. And so maybe eventually I'll get lucky and get blessed with a good Chris Middleton card. But right as of now, he is D tier. Kuz, I'm going to go C tier with Kuz. I've never been able to figure it out with Kyle Kuzma, but so many people got him in that locker code and so many people run him. And guess what, guys? He knocks down shots at a high level. So I can't sit there and hate on Kyle Kuzma. Plays decent defense, knocks down shots. I'll put him at C tier. Now, if you want a card that's going to dribble, move, and groove, Kuzma might not be that man. Lamar Odom, I'll go B tier. I don't love Lamar Odom, but he's 6'10", gonna play decent defense, knock down open shots. Again, I do not love Lamar Odom. I'm not trying to sit here and gas him. I'll take Jarace Walker over him. But if you are wanting me to give you guys an accurate representation on where I think he is, B tier would be that. Larry Legend up next, A tier. Now, look. If you want to argue Larry Bird at S tier, that's fine right now. I've not used the card. But all 2K's got to do for me to hype up Larry Bird is put that release on quick. I'm not even asking for the best Larry in the world. Just put that release on quick. Make the grind worth it. I will hype up Larry Bird. Then for now, I got to go A tier. Big Bron, S tier, no brainer. In my opinion, a top 2 small forward still to this day in 2K. Luol Deng, sweet Luol up next. Tough one. This is a really tough one. Do I want to put Luol Deng at S tier or B tier? Or A tier or B tier? I think I got to go A tier. Why? I think Luol Deng's closer to a Jason Tatum than a Kevin Durant. And I'm sorry that that's the way I think. But I think there's a big gap between a guy like a Jason Tatum and KD. And I think Luol is closer to the Jason Tatum. Marcus Fizer, this card stinks. He's F tier. There's not any positives I can say about Marcus Fizer. The card is an absolute bona fide scrub that cannot play. So, I'm going to throw him at F tier. Michael Beasley up next. I like Bees, but not any high. I can't put him any higher. I got to put him at B tier. Just because that Terrence Mann base, I think I got to put him at B tier. If I got a guy like Grant Hill at B tier, who, I mean, a lot of people probably don't think he's that great, I'm going to have to go and put a guy like Michael Beasley at B tier. Again, it's really preference based when it comes down to it, but I do think both of them are deserving a B tier. Another guy deserving a B tier is OG Anunoby. Perfect 3-and-D option. Now, the difference between him and a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith is I like OG Anunoby's release that much more. Now, again, you guys don't have to agree with everything I'm saying. It's why this is my tier list. And if you guys have your thoughts, leave them down below in the comments. But from my experience in how I've used these cards and how I've had success with them, I like OG that little bit more. PJ Tucker, I'm going to go C tier. PJ Tucker is a great card to use in like a salary cap type mode. The card does not miss. He's a fun card to use and just have success with. Now, with all that being said, is he, the best small forward in the game? No. But does he have one of the best releases in the game? Absolutely. I had fun using PJ Tucker in my salary cap lineup. He's super cheap, and he's a great option. Boncaro up next, A tier. Some people might argue Boncaro in S tier, and if that's you, okay. I can't argue against it. If you prefer Boncaro to AK, cool. I mean, that's awesome for you. For me, I think Boncaro is A tier. And honestly, I might like him at the power forward position more than the small forward position. I definitely think I do, and that plays a part as well. But when we're comparing Boncaro, he's on the same level as like a Melo or Jason Tatum, in my opinion. Even Larry Bird, which is crazy to say, but it's the way it is. Rudy G up next. I'm going to put Rudy at A tier. It's crazy that I still love Rudy this much in my team, but I do. And again, it's hard because Rudy and Luol, I think, should be in their separate tiers. I don't think they're quite to the Melo, quite to the Boncaro, but I do think they have a big gap on everybody at that B tier. And so that's kind of the part I'm really struggling with. The only other thing I could do is move a lot more people to F tier, but I've got some, I guess I don't got any more F people. So I guess I could do, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that because Marcus Fizer is literally basically unusable, where a lot of these guys are pretty usable. Rui Hachimura up next. I'm going to go C tier. Part of me wants to put him at B tier, but I think without the duo, he's not good enough defensively for me to do that. With the duo, absolutely B tier, maybe even A tier with the duo. And you guys can say I'm gassing him, but trust me, I'm a big Rui Hachimura stan. Without the duo defensively, he's still not great, and I think that's what holds me back. And you know what? I'm going to do some things here. I'm gonna do some things. Because I can't have the tier list the way it is right now. I just can't. I can't. So we're gonna move some players down, some players I really just don't think are that great anymore for this stage. And we're gonna attack this tier list in the way it should be attacked. I really don't like Melo at this stage. Brandon Ingram at this stage, I guess you're fine. Now we're gonna move some players down. Okay, unless you're absolutely elite, you're not going to go at B tier. You're going to go at C tier. So even like Lamar Odom, you've just got to go down. And it's not that I wouldn't have to do this, but I can't have Luol and Rudy at the same tier as those top guys. Going to move them down. And I feel like I like this a little bit more. I just do. Because they're more on like a Michael Beasley level than a Carmelo level. I just think at this stage, it's what it's got to be. And yeah, I like this a little bit more. Just got a lot of people at D tier and C tier, but that's A-okay. Shane Battier, I don't hate the card. I actually like him as a 3 and D card. To me, he's just like a little worse PJ Tucker, a little worse Rui Hachimura. Again, I don't hate him at all. I've actually had a lot of success with Shane Battier, but I think D tier is the right spot for him. Tari Eason, I know a ton of people have been hyping him up, gassing him up. I don't know. I've not really used the card a ton. I don't care whether you put him at C tier or D tier. I'll put him at C tier because I do like the card stats quite a bit. Thurl Bailey up next, A tier. A lot of people have been gassing Thurl Bailey quite a bit. For me, as it stands right now, I'm going to put him at A tier because I don't have the card yet. Once I get the card, use the card, maybe he'll be S tier. We'll have to see. But I just feel like when I've used that release, it just felt, I don't know, a little slow for my liking. And again, I'm not trying to sit here and hate on Thurl, but that's what it's felt for me, at least if it's the same release that's in play now, which I do believe it is. Tony Kukoc up next at this stage. I mean, who is using this card? I mean, honestly, I'll put him in C tier, but if you're using Kukoc at this point, I don't know really what to say. Zion Williamson, C tier. I'm sorry, I do not like Zion Williamson. It was one of my main reasons that I said, guys, I do not recommend you opening the Showtime pack. Because what are you going to pull? A C tier player? An unauctionable C tier player? You're wasting 10,000 MT. That was my whole mindset on it. I don't like Zion, putting him at C tier. Terrence Mann up next. I'm going to go C tier with Terrence Mann as well. Look, the difference between Michael Beasley and Terrence Mann, Michael Beasley gives you a little bit more. It's that simple, that easy. Terrence Mann still has a super good release, and I can't sit there and hate on that. But as far as everything else on the court, I just don't know if Terrence Mann is giving you a whole ton. Now last, I can't believe I about forgot this guy, but certainly not least, Adam Morrison, S tier, S tier, S tier. Now whether you want to run Bron or Adam Morrison, both those cards, in my opinion, are top 2 small forwards in the game. It really is preference. Adam Morrison's going to give you a little more of that shooting option. Bron's a little better defensively. Really is preference based between the two. I can't hate on either of them. I love both of them quite a bit. I have both of them currently in my lineup. I think I'm starting Morrison, Bron's off the bench. But I love both of them. Adam Morrison, easy addition into S tier. That's going to wrap it up for our tier list today, guys. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments. Who is I too high on? Who is I too low on? And ultimately, is there anybody I left off the list? Because I about left Adam Morrison off the list, so I just know there's probably some more people that should have been on this list that I didn't include. But even a guy like Paul Pierce, remember, a lot of those guys are on the shooting guard list, so make sure to go check out that list as well. Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.